Hi guys, and welcome to episode 28 of Notable Needlework. I am Kate, Notable Needle, Noteable, on Ravelry, on Plurk, and on Twitter. The blog, if you are watching this on iTunes, is at notableneedlework.blogspot.com. And as usual, Susu has managed to come in and she's being really needy again. But hopefully she can just stay down on the desk and not be a pain. Yeah, like that's really gonna happen. She's cuddling up with the knitting now. There is a group for this podcast on Ravelry, and you should go and join and say hi and chat. It has been an interesting week. I know, it's always been an interesting week. This week, actually, just a few hours ago, Becky from Addicted to Yarn and JL left for their second day on the road. They came here last night, so Sunday, and stayed the night. I had been hoping that we would be able to record together, but the timing just didn't work out, especially since JL and my husband hit it off and they were playing like Super Mario Galaxy and Katamari. So we got to hang out and knit and laugh at our basically two children. But it was a lot of fun. And so I am recording now with Susu being crazy. Hopefully she won't be too much of a pest, as long as she doesn't start pushing on the camera. So besides that, obviously I revealed the Plurk Podcaster Challenge pattern, on Saturday, which is the Hermione's, lace, cable and eyelet hat. Eyelet and cable hat? Oh, I'll post a pattern link. I don't really understand the cat. But it's really a quick little pattern. This is what I managed to get done on Saturday while I was figuring out what I was going to do with my Camp Loopy shawl. So, I said that I wasn't going to do any modifications. I totally lied. Instead of doing just knit one, purl one, I did a twisted rib. So knit one through the back loops, purl one, because I think it looks a lot cleaner than the knit one, purl one did, and more like the movie picture rather than the pattern picture, if that makes sense. So I just did the, don't even think about chewing on those. I just did the first row of pattern stitch, so you can't really see it, but there is now an eyelet there in the purl spaces of the ribs. Okay. So I'll definitely be able to finish it in time, and I'm looking forward to the finished object. I actually really like the woolies more than I thought that I would. I am using size 5s like the pattern calls for, and I'm not having any problems with it fitting on my head as far as I can try it on at this point anyway. But I like it. And hopefully I know at least one person is talking about knitting it with me. Obviously Camp Loopy is takes priority for most people, as it does with me. But since Camp Loopy ends on the 15th and this challenge ends on the 22nd, but you don't have to have your photos up till the 27th, that's plenty of time to be able to do the hat. So hopefully after people start posting their Camp Loopy photos, y'all will be able to head over here and knit that with me. And of course, because I'm a crazy person, I couldn't just do my one knit along with myself. Miss Ellie Knits is one of the other podcasts that is in the challenge, and her, now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking this might be too small. Her pattern is for the matching fingerless mitts to go with the hat. So the only thing I did so far was cast on. It's in the exact same yarn, although her pattern calls for a fingering weight, so I'm doing it on like size 3s. Anyways. So all I've done is cast on, and I think done 1 or 2 rounds in the rib. I just wanted to legitimately cast it on. And as if that wasn't enough, I know, I cast on everything this week. Well, no, I haven't cast on. This is actually for Becky of Addicted to Yarn's knit along, because her pattern is adorable, and I already know who it's going to be for Christmas. So hers is the cabled chapeau. I'll link to it in the show notes and move the cat so you can actually see the yarn that I'm trying to show you. So I got this pretty burgundy yarn. It's just the Michaels Impeccable. Stop walking on me. And it requires 2 1-inch buttons. So I got my pretty buttons that one of the cats decided to take backboard and all and carry into the bedroom from the living room. So I'm looking forward to that. I was waiting until she recorded on Saturday, but she was using not high-speed internet to upload it, so we were making sure that it did in fact upload before I cast on. Realistically, I'm probably going to wait for at least a little bit before I cast that one on. But it'll be before the challenge is done, for sure. And there's actually another podcast that I would like to knit along with. It's the Domesticated Darling podcast, which I'll also link to. All of these podcasts you can find in the blog on the left-hand side, because I follow all of them. And she's doing a cute cabled cowl, and all I would need for that is the buttons, which I'd have to get, but I definitely have some bulky weight yarn that I would look forward to using up. So we'll see how many things I can get done. So last time I showed the Camp Loopy shawl. I reached the halfway point, started the edging because I don't know what was going through my mind, but I started the edging, realized that I would have to do edging that was about 1 foot long if I was going to continue. So I sort of made it into a little, I guess you could say like an eyelet row or series of rows. I'll be knitting more in stockinette until I have about 6 or 7 grams of yarn left, and then just do 8 beads. So this is 4, and then I would just do twice as much for the edging and do a couple rows of garter stitch and do the bind off, and that should be 800 yards. So we'll see how that goes. I like the way it's turning out with adding the stockinette in. Plus, it will be much easier for me to take it to classes, to lab, to clinical during my lunch break. I am not worried about getting it done in time. I would like to get it done sooner so I can work on all my 9 million other projects that I cast on, but we'll see how that goes. So those are all of my works in progress. Before I go into nursing school, I do have a slightly knitting related thing. So as I said, Becky from Addicted to Yarn was here, and we let her stay in our guest room, which is also my office, which is the room that I'm recording from right now. And she wanted to thank Will and I for letting her and JL stay in the house. And so she brought me this sweet triangle project bag with coffee beans on it, and the inside fabric has, let's see if I can get it to show. It's all different kinds of coffee names, you know, fresh macchiato. I can't read backwards. Hazelnut, Italian, Vienna blend, vanilla cream, Boston, cappuccino. So it's super cute. And I love it. Thank you, Becky. And was that all? No. She brought us. Ooh, part of it fell out. She brought us Ritter Sports. We got to choose 3, and my husband is not much of a candy / chocolate person, so he got 1 and I got 2. He got the Cherry Kirsch, the one with the ice cream on it, and he has been enjoying that this morning. And then I got the milk chocolate and hazelnut, which I've already opened and eaten some of. I was trying not to eat them before I recorded, but I really couldn't help myself. So it was really awesome to have her here. Just getting to actually hang out with her in person and knit and watch, you know, JL and Will play video games totally made my weekend. Especially since the barbecue that we were supposed to go to today got rained out. Thank you, Tropical Storm Lee. We have a flash flood warning. I'm not overly concerned with us actually having a flash flood since we're on one of the like little hills on top. But it's still sort of annoying because I was looking forward to having like legitimate grilled hamburgers because we can't have grills in the apartment. But oh well. It's gray and misty outside, but it's cooling down, so I'll take that. And we have some hot dogs here, and we'll probably cook them for lunch once I finish recording. But that is it for actual knitting related stuff. And the rest is all nursing school. Yay! So, this past week was our clinical orientation. So we got to meet our clinical instructors if we hadn't already met them. We went over what's required of us for clinical, what we'll be doing, all that fun stuff. And we got to go and tour the hospital where we will be working. I say working because we're not getting paid, but it's not a normal class or a lab. It's clinical. So I very much like my lab instructor. She has a reputation for being the most difficult clinical instructor, but that's exactly what I want. I don't want someone who is okay with us just doing it however we want. I want someone telling me, no, you're doing this wrong, this is how you need to do it in my first semester, and then I get those habits instilled in me early. Plus, she's a total sweetheart. I understand, you know, where she's coming from for a lot of this, and so that helps with knowing why she's strict about certain things. We will be working in a general medical floor unit of UAB Hospital. So we are dealing with, we're not dealing with the cancer patients or the serious heart patients, but pretty much every other medical, so not trauma or anything like that, but COPD, asthma, renal failure, a whole bunch of other things that she listed that I can't really think of right now. I've been studying for an exam that I have tomorrow, so my brain's not entirely here. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a very good experience. I am not crazy about the 6 a.m. starting time, but it's better than the one that goes from 3 to midnight. So I'm dealing with it. I'll actually be in the hospital starting tomorrow. We go in for clinical planning, where we meet our patient, hopefully get a history and some baseline vital signs on them depending on how they're feeling. Get to introduce ourselves, and then we get our basic information that we need to... Well, for this first week we're not formulating a care plan, but we'll be going over their diagnosis, looking up all the relevant information, so things that you would be looking for. Symptoms, signs and symptoms that go along with that diagnosis, any complications that could arise, and of course looking up all of their medications and seeing possible interactions, indications, contraindications, all that fun stuff, which I will be writing up tomorrow night. So I'm very much looking forward to. Oh my gosh, I have no idea why okay, no, I know I'm so tired. It's because we stayed up until like almost midnight last night. It's totally worth it, but my body got up at 6 a.m. like it always does. But it will encourage me to go to sleep early tonight, which I need because I have an exam at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I'm looking forward to clinical. And then the day after our clinical orientation, we had skills blitz. So generally, the way we have lab is we would go in Tuesday for the lab lecture. Then Wednesday and Thursday we would go in. I'm in the afternoon group, so we'd go like 1 to 5. The morning group is 8 to 12. So 4 hours for each of the 2 days. Whatever, not a big deal. On Thursday we went in from 8 to 5. All day. The first 4 hours were like a normal lab where we go from station to station and our instructors demonstrate the skills and quiz us on what we had watched and read to... Oh my god. To prepare for the class. Then, when we got back from lunch, after we practiced the skills that we had learned for about an hour, we learned that it was Skills Blitz. Skills Blitz, while not as intense as the Skills Blitz of 4th semester, where they test you on every single nursing technique that you've ever learned in any of your semesters, is still slightly nerve-wracking for a first semester student. What they do is we all have our little IDs, and they had us all put our IDs into a box, and one of the professors would draw them out at random, not looking at them. It was usually 3 to a scenario. Generally you would have the lead, their assistant, and then someone to get supplies from the cabinet that you would need for any given procedure. So we had a couple different procedures that we were tested on. The one that I remember the most, because I was selected for it, was wound care. So I got to, I was the one who gathered all the supplies for the wound care, so gauze, saline, like a little bowl to put the saline into. There was tunneling in the wound, so the specific strips for that, cotton swabs to help pack the wound, and bandages and tape and a pen to go over it. So anyways, the best part about skills plates is that one of my younger professors, has an app on her phone it's a soundboard app, which, if you're not familiar with soundboard apps, you basically click and you get different special effect noises. And hers was sort of a general sound effects. So she had, people clapping, pretty much any sound effects that you would expect to hear on game shows. And she would play them at the appropriate time. So if someone got a right answer, she would have the ding 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 ding. Or if they got a wrong answer, like, "Aw." Which was quite humorous, especially when one of the other students was trying to argue with the professor that the way... I don't exactly remember. I think she was the one that was taking the lead on the patient. She was trying to argue that her way of, I guess it was moving the patient, was more accurate than what the professor was trying to say. We all know how those are going to end. And my professor said something snarky to her, and so everyone in the class went, "Ooh!" So, of course, the soundboard app had an option to make that special effect noise. I do love nursing school. Oh my god. I am not sleep deprived. I swear, I am not sleep deprived. I've just been studying all morning after Becky left. I've also been doing computer modules for our medical calculation exam. There's just basically not enough time to cover all of the material that we need to cover in the amount of time in class that we have. So we have a lot of online learning that we have to do to be prepared. And one of them is medication calculations. Which have been driving me completely insane. Not because they're difficult, but because I learned all of this in high school chemistry. And I've been using it ever since because I was a biology major. Unit conversion, i.e. dimensional analysis, is so ingrained into my head that having to relearn it every time that I take one of these online tutorials is driving me a little crazy. I think I would enjoy it more if I could just push one play button and it would play through like the hour's worth of audio. But no, it stops after every slide, so it goes for like 10 seconds and then you have to push the play button or the next button, which is very distracting when you're trying to knit. If they didn't monitor how much time you spent in the course, I would probably just take the tests at the end of each section and be done with it. I get 100 on them, and I don't pay attention to the tutorial, so it's a little bit frustrating. I totally understand it because it's something that you obviously need to know and need to be very familiar with, but I wish there was an option to just test out of having to watch those. Anyways, I still have 2 more modules to watch, which will either be... I might try and do one of them today and then save the other one for, I guess Friday? Maybe. I think for once I actually don't have anything this Friday, which is awesome. But I'll do it, the second one, at some point. I don't think I'm going to be able to get 2 done today, because I still have more studying for Patho. I did my cheat sheet for it, and that is the majority of my reviewing. I'm still probably going to read through my notes in the chapter again. But it's material I'm familiar with, so I'm not too worried about it. So yeah, that's basically it. I am busy with nursing school. I have my hands full with knitting, and I have a ridiculously needy cat who absolutely demands that she's the center of attention at all times. If you couldn't tell. Yeah. You're kind of crazy. So yeah, I think I may take a nap. I'm not gonna lie, I may take a nap. This is one of those times I really wish that I still used caffeine. Thank you. Move your butt. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Because then I could at least pretend like I was taking something to wake myself up. But I don't. Not anymore. It's probably gonna kick my ass during nursing school. Yeah, I'm pretty much just gonna stop recording now because she's gonna keep hitting the camera with her feet and her tail and her everything. So I hope that you are having a good week and that you were actually able to enjoy Labor Day with all of its cookout gloriness. Because I wasn't. The one thing that Will is very much enjoying about the barbecue being canceled is that the pie that I made, he gets it all to himself. Speaking of Will, he is planning on growing out a beard in response to some online contest, and I'm totally letting him. I'm just really curious to see how it'll look. It's not like, you know, crazy Mountain Lodge man beard. It's he shaved like a goatee, a lot like Commander Riker on Stargate or Star Trek. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, I hope your weekend is going well, and Becky and JL, I miss you already. I wasn't yawning this morning when y'all were here. Oh. Thank you, Susu, for trying to eat my wrist. Okay. I'm gonna stop now because otherwise I'm gonna start yawning more and no one wants that. So have a good Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Have a good short week. And I will talk to you next week after clinicals. Woo!